It's open in the morning at early muzzleloader season. Out in this little food plot strip here. This is all clover. Right over here there's a creek. And then there's a big thick area of woods. I just heard a shot further down that way. It's pretty quiet. I did see deer on my way in here this morning. Of course on private property. Seen a whole bunch of them together. We're gonna have a stalk around here. See what we can find. Shooting my inline muzzleloader this morning. We'll have a look at that later. It's starting to rain though, which can be rough for black powder. I hear the crows going nuts. Alright, let's have a walk around and see what we can find. Maybe we'll get lucky. That was the closest I've come to a shot so far. I'm sitting in a big creek draw. See down in front of me here, there's a little creek that runs down through here. Well, on the opposite side of the creek, a big doe was coming down the side of the hill. And I had her in my scope, but I couldn't get a good clear shot. And she came down close enough. She was only about 30 yards from me. And she seen me. Didn't win me, but I still couldn't get a clear shot. And she didn't blow or snort or anything like that. She just walked on down towards the private property on this side. It's pouring now. Not good for black powder hunting. You gotta watch water intrusion, especially down your muzzle. I'm sitting under a big oak tree right now. It was funny this morning when I shot that little bit of video earlier when I said I heard the shot. When I walked into this area this morning, there was a guy already sitting in a spot that I wanted to sit. And I seen him down there. As you can see, I'm wearing blaze orange. I have to wear orange for muzzleloader. I seen him down there, and I didn't go down. Of course, he was there first. You know, it's public land. There's nothing you can do about that. It's first come, first served basis. And I walked past him, and 30 minutes later, I heard a shot from where he was sitting, and I talked to him when I moved to this spot. He got a small doe. Hey, what are you gonna do? That's how it rolls. But we're gonna sit here a little bit more. Hopefully this rain is gonna stop. And we'll see what we see. See if I get something else moving down here. It's pretty thick in here. Usually with my muzzleloader I try to hunt field edges to take advantage of the range. So, you know, I can see a deer 100 yards and hit it pretty confidently. But the junior pheasant season is open now, and this is one of the areas where they do release pheasants for that. So you get guys walking the field edges and, you know, walking the CRP and stuff. But we'll see here what transpires. Maybe we'll get a shot at something later. Okay, here we are, spot number 3, which should have really been spot number 1, but that's public land hunting. This is a big pine ridge. Creek is right at the bottom of the hill. You might just be able to see it right there. On the other side of the creek is private property, and it's really thick. To my right here, there's a big thick bank of a very, very thick small brush cover. Then it comes into this opening here where you can see the pine. But it's a pretty steep hill. So this gives me a good vantage point, as you know, sitting up high, and the deer will work along the edge of this. pine grove, but it also gives me a chance to be able to shoot, because if I turn around this way, you see, like this stuff here, you get brush like that, you can't shoot in that. Even with a 50 caliber gun, you hit one of those little pieces of brush and the bullet is gone. It won't go where you want it to go. Now, where I was in that other spot when I seen that deer, it was a nice sized doe, but it was coming down the hill towards me, and when it seen me, it was looking straight at me, and it did not give me a good shot. It was standing behind some brush that I wasn't going to risk, trying to shoot through it. But if the deer had come to the right, I would have been able to get a clear shot at it. And instead of going to the right, it went to the left, and gave me a no shot at it. But at least I seen some deer. We'll sit here for a little bit. I have to go pick up my daughter, but we'll sit here for a little bit and see what we see. Yeah, that's funny. Where I'm sitting here, I'm right next to this big tree, and then behind it there's a big rock. This gray squirrel's after running down the side of the tree. He jumped on my bag, which is right behind me, and then he seen me and nearly shit himself. He took off like a bolt of lightning. Squirrel is open today. Now next weekend, pheasant opens. Pheasant and rabbit I think open next week, but squirrel is open today. But I'm more interested in trying to get a deer. We'll be after the squirrels later. Oh, that's funny. He was right. I could have reached over and touched him. He was right. Almost jumped on my back. That's hilarious. I wanted to see if there were any red squirrels in here. Some areas they're called pine squirrels. And then, of course, I'm sitting on a big pine grove, so usually this will be an area where they would be. I just heard pheasant. But so far I've only seen gray squirrels, but we'll keep looking. There he went. That is a red squirrel. He's in that tree there, I can't see him. Well, I caught a glimpse of the elusive pine squirrel. He's sitting right up over the top of my head. He's still in that tree there, but I can't see him. It's too thick. Their bark it's not like a gray squirrel. It's really high pitched. Sounds almost like a cat. I thought I might see one in here, like I said, because they like these big pine groves. That's usually where they live. But they're very aggressive. They will fight with gray squirrels. A pretty squirrel, man. He's got a red coat with like a white belly, and he's got a big black ring around his eye. It's really nice. They're small though. He's probably less than half the size of a gray squirrel. And he's way smaller than a fox squirrel. What time is it? Alright, I got 30 more minutes. Then I gotta go, and then I'll be back. I'll come back later. And see what else we see. Okay, I'll give you a quick look at what I was using today. This is my Connecticut Valley Arms Kodiak Magnum inline muzzleloader. You can see it's breech action. Pull the trigger guard down. That exposes your touch hole. It uses a 209 shotgun primer for ignition. I usually use a Remington clean bore, which is specifically designed for inline muzzleloaders. Pull the trigger back up, you can see you pull, hammer back to cock it, and then just single trigger, and that's it, you're ready to go. Stainless steel. It's 50 caliber. You can see I have a pretty nice scope on it here. It's turret adjustable and lockable for windage and elevation. It's also illuminated red and green, so the reticle is a mil dot reticle, so it will light up inside. It's also focusable. Mil dot is handy with a muzzleloader because the muzzleloader does not have a really good trajectory. So if you're shooting longer yardages with it, if you know the exact yardage and you know how your gun shoots, you can make long shots with them, but you have to know the yardage and you have to know how well your gun shoots at that distance and exactly where your gun shoots at that distance. This is a pretty accurate rifle. It can shoot 200 yards. I won't take a hunting shot at 200 yards unless I knew the exact distance and knew my wind left to right and all that other good stuff, and I had a very steady shot. I've killed deer at 100 yards with this rifle, no problem. You see I have a bipod mounted on it too. Alright, we'll be back later. Okay, we're back. Took a little trip home, had to pick up my daughter. Because it was raining all morning, I didn't take a chance. This gun is usually pretty watertight. The breech on it is pretty watertight, but I didn't take a chance. I unloaded it. I didn't shoot it to unload it. This has a removable breech plug. Took the breech plug out, removed the projectile and the powder. I did check it and the powder was bone dry, so that's good. That tells me that the gun's breech is doing its job and it's keeping the water away from the powder. I did swab out the barrel to make sure the barrel was dry. Like I said, it was raining hard all morning. We were out here for 4.5 hours, maybe 5 hours. So the gun is bone dry and it's ready to go. I'm going to show you here what we're using to load it. I have a muzzle loader, speed loader here. You can see it holds some percussion caps. Well, these are actually shotgun primers. That's what it uses for ignition. I'm using 2 pre-measured pellets of Pyrex. So they're 50 grains a piece for a total of 100 grains. So we're going to pour those into the barrel. The bullet I'm using is a power belt. It's a 295 grain. The copper part you see is the bullet. The green part is a skirt. That's the gas seal. And that will separate from the bullet when it comes out of the barrel. As you can see, it's a hollow point. And these do a lot of damage. They do a lot of damage. It's real easy to load. It's not, if you look at my other video with the black powder with the patch and ball, this loads really easy. Just set it in the crown of the muzzle. This is a cut crown, so it lines the bullet up straight. I can just push it in with my finger. Use my ramrod. That's as easy as that. Seat it to the mark on my ramrod. I have my rod marked so I know where the bullet, where it stops. And that gun is now charged, ready to get a percussion cap on it. Put that back in my little bag. I do have a ball starter for those bullets too, but you don't need it. They load very easily. You can see here another accessory I use for this. I have one for my flintlock as well. I have a little speed loader tube here with a round ready to go. I have a couple of percussion caps on here, and then this is the tool I use to load the percussion cap. You can see it holds the cap. It also has a fork on the opposite end to get it off. I'll show you to load that. All you do is open the breech. You place the shotgun primer right in the breech and pull the tool out, and then it's on, it's ready to go. If you then close the breech, the gun now is considered loaded, so I can't put it in my vehicle. That's what I'll do. I can't even lean it on the vehicle. That would be illegal. It's ready to go, and we're ready to go. So let's hit the field and see if we see any more deer. I'm super pumped. Let's see if I can see it. Right by the end of the log. Right there. There lies my deer. It caught me on the wrong side. It came down this real steep bridge here. And there was another one right on the edge of the woods here that I couldn't see. But this little doe came right down the side of the hill. There's actually a trail right here behind me. Let's see where the tip of my gun is there. This trail right here. She was following that. She wasn't 25 yards from me. And I was sitting at the top of the hill up here, facing down the hill towards the creek. I'm just going to give it a minute and make sure it's dead. And she came out on this side of me. So she was, I had a shot, a left-handed shot, but not a right-handed shot. And of course I'm right-handed. But when I moved the gun, she was so close to me. I was laid back down behind a tree. But when I moved the gun, she pegged me. And she ran about another 25 yards. But she made a mistake. She stopped when she was on the edge of the woods here. And I was able to get out from behind the tree, make a quick shot. Man, I freaking hammered it. I could just see the white of her ass. And then I put it right behind her shoulder. Boy, that freaking muzzleloader makes a lot of smoke. I don't see it moving. I heard it cry when I shot. And it got knocked down immediately. It went down and it couldn't move. And it was bleeding. And then it rolled down the hill a little bit. I'm going to go down and make sure that it's deceased. And then I'm going to go get my game cart and we're going to reel it out. Oh, I'm freaking pumped. I haven't shot a deer in 3 seasons. That made my whole day. This is the same spot. It just shows you what goes around comes around. This spot was where that guy was sitting this morning. Tim, I talked to him after he had shot that deer. And I had wanted to come and sit here. Because it's a really good transition area because there's a lot of thick woods here, and the deer stay in the thick woods and then they meander out. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That is the earliest I've ever shot a deer. Usually they're all like right at dusk or right at dawn. But he sat here this morning. I got here before it was light. It was probably, I think 6:40 was legal shooting hours. I got here about 20 after 6 and he was already here. And when I was walking into the spot and I seen him and I waved to him so he knew that I seen him. He waved back to me and then I moved on further down. And about 10 minutes after legal shooting light, he shot a deer. And then I ran into him later when we met up back at the parking lot. And he said, "Oh man, I hope you didn't have a stand in there." And I said, "Hey, that's public land. There's no point in being upset over it. You just go somewhere else." That's why on public property, always have a backup spot. If you go to a spot and somebody's already there, that's okay. It's first come, first serve. Go somewhere else. Have a backup spot. Okay, this deer hasn't moved. I've been yakking. Let's get the gun and we'll go down and check it out. This hill is really steep. But if you see me dropping the camera, it means it got up. Yeah, it's not moving. Man, that would have rolled all the way down to the creek. See where my bag is there? It would have rolled all the way down to the creek. It got stuck in a tree. Oh yeah, little yearling, nice. Perfect for the freezer. Look at the flies on it already. Let's give it a check. Always give it the eye poke. Ooh, look at that hole. That muzzleloader leaves a hole. This is the entry hole. There we go. There we go. Nice little yearling doe. Perfect for the freezer. That is a successful meat hunt. Alright, now the real work begins. I gotta drag it up the damn hill out here. Actually, first thing we gotta do is tag it in PA. Do not move a big game animal without tagging it first. So we're gonna put a tag on it, and then I'll go back and get my game cart and we'll get it out. I'm pumped! Well, here's the crime scene. Here's the little trail the deer was on. See here where I hit it? And then it rolled. I mean, you can see that carpet of blood. She knocked that little stump out of the ground. And continued to roll. Right there. Here's my rifle. The deer's right next to it. Alright, let's get to tagging. Okay. Went back and assembled my game cart that I had in the back of my car. It folds up, the wheels fold up on it, folds up nice and small. This makes carrying deer easy, but because I'm on such a steep hill, I'm going to use my deer drag the deer up to here, and then I'm going to wheel it out from here. That's the plan. Now I'm going to get ready to lose about 8 pounds. And by the time that 85-pound deer gets to the top of this hill, it's going to weigh 385 pounds. And I'm going to love every minute of it. Okay, let's go. Okay, got the deer out, it's ready to go. It's customary in Europe to give the deer a last meal out of respect for the deer for giving its life for you. It's very hot today, lots of flies. I gotta get on the move. Get the deer home and packaged up. Alright, that was a successful hunt. We had fun watching the squirrels. Now we're gonna have working on the deer. Whew, I'm beat. And I still gotta drag it. You can see how steep the hill is here. It's pretty freaking steep. I was lucky, it could have been worse. It could have rolled all the way to the bottom and I'd had to drag it all the way to the top. Right, it would have went right to the creek, only the tree stopped to here. Alright. And from what I've seen today, we'll be in here next week hunting squirrels. I've seen a limit of squirrels today. Alright, let's get the deer out of here, get it back to the car and get home. Okay. Finally got the deer back to the car, loaded up. See, bungee strapped on there, so it can't roll out. I still got to take it up a little bit of the hill, then I'm back on the path and back towards the car. And like I said, I'm 8 pounds lighter. I thought for a minute I was going to have to take a ride out on the cart. It reminds me of a funny story. A few years ago, when my children were both younger, I shoot a deer way in the back end of a field. And it's a big drag back to where I had parked the car. Can't drive vehicles on public property here. ATVs, anything like that's illegal. Can't drive a truck on it, that's illegal. You can if you have a disabled permit. If it's an accessible road, you can access the road if you have a disabled permit. But I called my wife, I told her I shot a deer, and both the kids came out to help me drag the deer out. So I walked him down into the field, and by this time it's dark, and it's a long way into the field. I load the deer up in the cart, and I get Oh, I'm tired. I can't walk anymore. So I dragged the deer and the 2 kids out of the field on the cart. But it was worth it. All right, let's finish this job off and get home and get the deer processed up. Okay, as you can see, this cart is one of the best things that my good lady wife ever bought for me as a gift. And she's bought me a lot of gifts. Actually, this year we'll be married 20 years. And I don't know what I'd do without her. Because today she saved my ass. That is for sure. Whew. All uphill. Now a little bit of downhill to the car. You see it's got the big wheels on it. So it goes over pretty rough terrain fairly easily. Rolls pretty easily. For any of you guys that have to quarter moose, man, I do not envy you that job. At all. It is hot today. It's 70 something degrees. Flies everywhere. I gotta get this on ice. But I thought you'd like to see the cart. I put the cargo net on it. It helps when you have does that you have no antlers to tie to, so you can zigzag tarps and stuff on them. It stops them falling through it. But let's get back to the car. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. See you on the next one. Whew. All right, made it back to the car. Now we're on our way home. I'm covered in blood and pretty stinky, so I won't be hunting anymore today. In PA anyway, you can only shoot 1 big game animal. I still have 1 buck tag. I can also use that buck tag, antler tag, as an antlerless tag in the late muzzleloader season. So we'll see what happens with that. That's a long way from now. Trapping season opens next week, so now that I got my deer out of the way, that'll give me more freedom to do that. All right, time to get home and get busy.